everyone, and welcome to the Customer Service Manager Certificate video series. Today we'll be going over a basic of customer service, the customer. First, let's explain the customer experience. A customer experience is an interaction between an organization and a customer, and that is from the Shaw text that you are required to read. It's on page 6. What's most important about this definition is that the customer experience is crafted throughout the entire phase of interaction that takes place between a customer and a company. As such, it is very important for a company to not only be consistent throughout the entire experience, but to do their best to create a positive interaction. And now what I mean by consistency is that you never know when a first impression is going to be made, when a customer is really paying attention, things like that. So being consistent throughout your entire interaction with this customer, and as we'll go over in the next slide or two here, that expectation can be set very early on, even before you know that you're in contact with these customers. So really be a transparent company, one that is consistently the same, and smoke and mirrors can really only get you in trouble because the customer will notice inconsistencies. And so just to sort of sum up the customer experience, it's the way the interaction made them feel. To sort of reiterate the expectations point and to sort of expand on that, we'll talk about the perceptions and expectations. Perception is reality framed by the past, and that is also from your Shaw text. As you may have learned in a marketing or a different business course, customers see the world through their own set of lenses. They are often referred to as worldviews, as they certainly shape how people perceive the world. Now, these frames or worldviews are based on past experiences, expectations of future events, as well as their needs as they see fit. They can also be based on things that we've come to expect, such as a stereotype or other things like the American dream, where our personal expectations will be that we have the picket fence, the 2.5 children, and the dog, and all of that needs to fall into place in order for us to be satisfied with our sort of interaction with you. So our personal expectations can certainly affect what we expect from a company delivering any sort of good or service. Expectations can also be affected by PR, marketing, and advertising. These are all things that we encounter on a very daily basis, and while companies want to impress upon us the benefits of buying their vehicle or staying in their hotel room, we can often be let down or disappointed when we find that the car maybe doesn't get as good gas mileage as we had hoped, and the hotel room isn't as large as we thought it looked in the brochure. So the authors of this text suggest that there is a sort of catch-22. They want to stress the benefits, but at the same time they are also setting high standards for themselves that are very often unmet because the truth is bent a bit in advertising and marketing, and they're really stressing the important parts of how huge the room is. But the important thing here to note is that though this is not a two-way interaction between the customer and the customer begins the customer experience here in PR, marketing, and advertising because they begin shaping their expectations of what they will get out of their experience with you. And that's why working on these areas of business is such a vital component to any company's success. The next is the frequency in which a customer experiences a customer experience, for example, driving the same car, trying the same foods, riding the same rides at a fair, etc., the more bland an experience becomes. And that can really be a hard thing to change, as customers like to stick with what they know, often avoid change, but at the same time they also desire new experiences, and that can also affect why they would stay with the brand or move to another one. Third is where they are in the customer experience cycle, and I sort of made that phrase up, the customer experience cycle, but that stems from the expectations across all moments of contact that we went over in the previous slide, and that is essentially the advertising and PR that they interact with in the beginning, their buying process, where it starts from sales all the way to purchase, and then through the ownership phase. And for example, a customer in the buying phase of the customer experience is going to expect a certain level of sales as well as a certain level of assistance in choosing the right product. But if that's not there, if their desire to purchase the product is high enough, it can still result in a sale. The customer might be unhappy, but the purchase might still happen. Now, for a customer who purchases a large purchase, such as a vehicle or a computer that costs a lot, and they are in the ownership phase, and technical support is poor, and customers' expectations are higher there, they may reconsider their purchase. So where they are in the customer experience cycle will certainly affect their expectations. And lastly is word of mouth. And this is something that is covered in a few of the texts that we require. Word of mouth is essentially the free PR or free advertising that happens from customers to other customers. This is something your friends tell you, something your family suggests, or something that you hear about at work. Word of mouth is very hard to control, though through PR you can certainly monitor it and help to manage it by responding to customers who are unhappy online. But again, word of mouth is a very strange thing to try to monitor at all. But monitoring is definitely easier than managing. So those are the 4 things that can really affect expectations, and they are all things that you need to be aware of so as to avoid unsatisfied customers. Customer needs, then, are certainly influenced by their worldviews, perceptions, and expectations, as we've talked about, but they are also based on the changes that customers have experienced over the past few years. Customers are smarter, they have more access to information, they're more informed because of that, and they're also more price conscious because they're able to compare prices against other prices and companies against other companies. This makes them very hard to please, much more demanding, and less likely to be brand loyal, where they will jump from brand to brand and usually hold no loyalty regardless of the product. Certainly bigger items such as a vehicle, computer brands, we can see that loyalty is more plausible there, especially with advertising like the Mac versus Apple, car commercials as well, really make loyalty seem like an important aspect to have if you own a Mac or if you own a BMW, things like that. But customers weren't really always this way before, there was one brand of vehicle, there was one brand of shampoo, things like that. But again, with the influx of information, with the plethora of competitors offering the same exact products, and really more to worry about in terms of money today with the economy, additionally with education being more important, thus, people are getting in more debt every day, and additionally customers are becoming more and more demanding, they're very difficult to cater to. They expect so much more because they know so much more. And because information is so prevalent and available, customers expect you to have all the answers to their questions. They want to know about the value you offer, the assurance your products or services has, and overall why they should buy from you. So really take advantage of their interacting with you, and even the prior interaction through PR, marketing, and advertising, and really share that and stress that point that you should buy from us because of A, B, and C. So know their needs so that you can better talk to them about them. And how to determine and meet their needs can be done in a few ways. This is in your Jeffrey Gitomer text. I may have pronounced his name wrong. But there are a few steps to knowing your customer's needs and then fulfilling them. And that is, first of all, know your customer, understand them, listen to them, lead them, help them, and serve them. Now, knowing them and understanding them are 2 things that can be done through the marketing phase, where you conduct market research, look at demographics, really learn to understand your customers. And another way to really do that is to listen to them by asking them questions. Ask them what they want, look at customer reviews, figure out what their needs are, and figure out where their unmet needs are. To lead them is really to give the customers a hand and say, this is your next step. And that can really make or break the process between a customer buying and a customer not buying. A website that makes it very simple and easy to purchase, where the steps are outlined from 1, 2, and 3, customers are more likely to purchase there. If I have to look high and low for a purchase link, I'm just going to go find the product elsewhere because I usually can. And that's a large part of why customers are not brand loyal. And then helping them and serving them are sort of the latter phase of the buyer cycle. And that's really where you need to be there to assist them. And customer service, as Gitomer shares in his book, should really be titled, customer helping. We're not really servicing them. We need to help them resolve the issues as they are calling us or looking at us for help. So those are just a few things. And lastly, meeting the client's needs relies on these things then that are definitely tied into the previous slide. That is, the company understanding the clients, being prepared to serve them, and not only being prepared but also being able, helping an angry customer immediately, asking customers for information, listening to them, being responsible for your actions, being memorable, and surprising customers. Companies spend billions of dollars on customer service, yet most companies are still getting it very wrong, and service is still very lousy. But why? Well, because priorities are often set incorrectly, and goals are determined without the proper understanding in place of what the customer really wants. There is also the lack of employees taking responsibility for actions that the customer is asking for, such as saying, that's not my job, that's not my area, and often spread blame to others. But overall, customer service is a really tricky thing to get right, but it can easily be started by first understanding the customer. Your success really relies on their satisfaction with you, your product, your service, and your assistance. Remember that, and remember that if you're fake in one phase of the customer experience, you can very, very much count on losing many clients. And that's why I mentioned earlier that being consistent is crucial to the customer enjoying their customer experience with you. So that about sums up our introduction to the customer. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at ashley@businesstraining.com. And thanks for your attention.